Your Harley has hidden features you're not using, and that's exactly how riders end up with $3,000 to $6,000 repairs they never planned for. These aren't gimmicks. They're built-in protections against heat, detonation, oil breakdown, and electrical stress, buried in menus, settings, and systems most owners never touch. Most people think, if it runs, it's fine, and that belief is why failures look sudden. If you ride in traffic, heat, or with higher miles, this matters even more. Watch till the end, because the last one decides whether this bike stays reliable or gets expensive. Number 17, hidden diagnostic mode. The check engine light on a Harley is rarely dramatic, and that is exactly why riders ignore it. Buried inside your bike is a built-in diagnostic mode that most owners never access. By holding the odometer reset button while cycling the ignition, you can pull stored trouble codes in seconds. That small habit can be the difference between catching a minor sensor imbalance and riding for months with a lean condition, quietly building heat inside the combustion chamber. When an oxygen sensor drifts out of range, the engine control module adjusts fuel delivery. If the mixture stays slightly lean, combustion temperatures rise. You may notice a faint hesitation, a rough idle, or extra heat through your legs, but nothing that screams emergency. That subtle imbalance can eventually turn into scorched valves or piston damage. The cost comparison is brutal. A self-scan costs nothing. Ignoring it can lead to a $2,500 top-end repair. Not every stored code is catastrophic, though. A low voltage code after a weak battery is common and harmless once corrected. And here is the part most riders miss. Sometimes the bike is running hot without triggering any light at all. Number 16, rear cylinder deactivation. A lot of seasoned riders turn this feature off because it feels strange at a stoplight. Rear cylinder deactivation, also known as engine idle temperature management system, is designed to cut fuel to the rear cylinder when the bike is idling hot in traffic. That brief pause in combustion reduces heat soak in the rear head and helps protect oil from thinning under extreme temperature. When an air-cooled V-twin sits in heavy traffic above 90 degrees, heat builds rapidly around the rear piston. Oil viscosity begins to shear, and protective film strength drops. Over time, repeated heat soak can contribute to piston skirt scuffing and premature wear. You might notice excessive seat heat, a sharper exhaust smell, or light pinging after long idle periods. Leaving this feature enabled costs nothing. Ignoring it during long summer congestion can be the difference between routine maintenance and a $3,000 to $6,000 cylinder repair. It is not a cure-all, though. On short stops in mild weather, cycling the system constantly is unnecessary. The toggle is accessible through your settings menu, and knowing when to use it matters, because idle heat is only the beginning of what high temperature does inside this engine. If this is already changing how you look at your Harley, take a second to like the video, subscribe for more engine-saving breakdowns, and share your experience below. Number 15, engine temp readout. Most riders judge engine heat by how uncomfortable the seat feels at a stoplight. That guesswork leaves a lot unseen. Your Harley's information menu includes a live engine temperature readout, accessible through the handlebar toggle switch. Scrolling to that screen takes seconds, yet it tells you exactly what is happening inside the heads and oil passages. Instead of relying on instinct, engine oil begins to thin more rapidly once temperatures climb past roughly 260 degrees. As viscosity drops, the protective film separating bearings, cam lobes, and piston skirts becomes weaker. You might notice sharper heat against your legs, a faint ticking sound after heavy traffic, or slightly sluggish throttle response. Those are early signals, not harmless quirks. Checking that display costs nothing. Ignoring sustained high readings can turn a routine $150 oil change into a $2,500 top-end repair. That said, air-cooled models naturally operate warmer than liquid-cooled engines, so learn your normal range before reacting. Temperature awareness changes how you ride, and it also reveals why voltage stability matters more than most owners realize. Number 14, voltage monitoring. Electrical problems rarely announce themselves with drama. They start with something small, like a slightly slower crank or a dash that flickers for a split second. Your Harley's system voltage can be checked through the display menu or verified with a simple multimeter at the battery terminals. That reading tells you whether the charging system is truly healthy or quietly drifting out. Of range. A running Harley should typically show between 13.8 and 14.5 volts. Numbers consistently below that can mean the stator or regulator is struggling. Weak voltage reduces spark strength, which leads to incomplete combustion and carbon buildup inside the chamber. Over time, that buildup increases heat and raises the risk of detonation. You might feel a mild misfire under load or notice dimming lights at idle. Testing voltage costs nothing. Replacing a battery might cost $200. Ignoring a failing stator or regulator can climb past $1,200 with labor. Aftermarket lighting or audio systems can increase electrical load, so factor those in before assuming failure. Electrical stability protects more than the battery, and carbon buildup sets the stage for deeper combustion trouble. Number 13. Security pin override. Nothing unsettles a seasoned rider faster than a bike that refuses to start at a fuel pump. Modern Harleys use a proximity fob and security system that can immobilize the engine if the signal fails. Hidden in the setup menu is a manual personal identification number override that allows you to disarm the system using the turn signals. Most owners never take the time to program it. A dead fob battery, signal interference, or simple electronic glitch can leave the security light flashing and the starter disabled. The engine itself may be perfectly fine, but the immobilizer prevents ignition. You will see the security indicator stay lit and the bike will not fire, no matter how many times you press the start button. Setting up the override takes a few minutes in your garage. Ignoring it can mean a $300 to $600 tow and dealer reset. Keep the code private and stored securely, because sharing it defeats the purpose of the system. Number 12. Suspension preload. Rear suspension preload is one of the most ignored adjustments on a touring Harley. Riders often add a passenger or luggage and never touch the setting. That small oversight changes how weight transfers through the frame, swing arm, and rear tire. Your bike likely includes an adjustable preload collar or air valve, along with a spanner wrench in the factory toolkit to make the correction. Extra weight compresses the rear suspension deeper into its travel. Instead of absorbing bumps smoothly, the shock can bottom out over rough pavement. That repeated impact stresses wheel bearings, bushings, and even the frame. You may notice uneven rear tire wear, a harsh rebound after bumps, or vague handling in sweeping turns. Those symptoms are not random. They point to improper load setup. Adjusting preload takes minutes, while replacing a prematurely worn rear tire can cost $400 to $800, and suspension damage can exceed $1,000. Avoid over-tightening, because chassis forces travel deeper and affect critical rotating components over time. Number 11. Clutch free play. Clutch free play is easy to ignore because the bike still shifts and moves. That small gap at the lever, however, determines whether the clutch plates fully engage or drag slightly every time you ride. Harley specifies a certain amount of slack, and you can measure it with a simple ruler or by feel at the lever before resistance begins. Too little free play keeps slight pressure on the clutch push rod. Heat builds inside the clutch pack as friction plates slip microscopically instead of locking firmly. Over time, that extra heat warps plates and glazes friction material. You might notice notchy shifts once the engine is hot, difficulty finding neutral, or a faint burning smell after heavy traffic. Those signs point to drag, not personality. A proper adjustment costs nothing and takes minutes, while replacing a worn clutch pack can reach $1,200. Excessive slack causes gear clash, and heat from improper engagement does not stay isolated, traveling deeper into the driveline. Number 10. Cruise for RPM stability. Cruise control is often treated like a comfort feature, something you use only to rest your wrist. On a Harley touring model, it also stabilizes engine speed more precisely than most riders can by hand. Activating cruise with the handlebar switch keeps revolutions steady on long highway stretches, reducing constant micro-adjustments in throttle input. Small variations in throttle position create tiny fluctuations in combustion temperature and cylinder pressure. Over hundreds of miles, those fluctuations add up. Steady engine speed promotes consistent oil film strength and smoother driveline load. Riders sometimes notice slight jerkiness or driveline lash on long rides, especially if they are constantly feathering the throttle. That inconsistency is subtle, but it affects how heat and pressure cycle inside the engine. Using cruise costs nothing, while replacing worn driveline components can cost $800 to $2,000. Avoid it in heavy traffic or wet conditions, because mechanical consistency protects components, and stable revolutions reveal why oil condition matters under load. Number 9. Ride mode selection. Sport mode feels sharper, more responsive, more alive. That immediate throttle response can make a heavy touring Harley seem lighter on its feet. Hidden in the settings menu, however, are multiple ride modes designed to adjust throttle mapping and power delivery for different conditions. Leaving the bike in its most aggressive setting all the time may not be the smartest long-term choice. Aggressive throttle mapping increases how quickly torque hits the compensator, primary chain, and clutch assembly. Instead of a smooth roll-on, components experience sharper load spikes. Over time, repeated shock loads contribute to compensator wear and driveline stress. You may notice abrupt lurching at low speeds or a harsh feel when transitioning on and off the throttle. Those are signs of mechanical strain, not just personality. Selecting a smoother ride mode takes seconds, while replacing worn compensator or clutch components can cost $800 to $2,000. Sport mode has its place, but load shock is only one stress, and another issue builds quietly inside. If you care about keeping your Harley strong for the long haul, make sure you're subscribed. We break down the mechanical realities most riders never hear about, and the next few entries may protect you from expensive mistakes. Number 8. Tire pressure monitoring system, display mode. Most riders tap their tires with a boot and call it good. Your Harley already measures exact pressure through the tire pressure monitoring system, and the display mode is only a few clicks away using the handlebar toggle. That screen shows real-time PSI for both tires, removing guesswork entirely. Underinflated tires flex more with every rotation, generating excess heat in the sidewalls. That heat weakens the internal structure and accelerates uneven shoulder wear. Handling may start to feel slightly vague in corners, or the bike may wander on grooved pavement. Those small changes are early warnings, not personality quirks. Checking pressure through the display costs nothing. Replacing a prematurely worn touring tire can run between $400 and $800. A sudden blowout at highway speed carries a price far higher than money. Temperature swings can alter readings slightly, so always check after the bike has been sitting and compare cold pressures. Tire pressure influences braking distance and stability more than most riders realize, and the next system in line confirms whether your stopping power is actually ready when you need it most. Number 7. ABS, self-test, and brake system check. Behavior. Every time you start your Harley, the ABS system is quietly checking itself. The warning light on the dash does not turn off immediately because the system requires a short roll forward to complete its self-test. Many riders see the light, panic briefly, then forget about it once it disappears. That behavior is normal, but only if you understand what is supposed to happen. The system performs a rolling verification of wheel speed sensors and hydraulic function as the bike begins moving. If the ABS light stays illuminated after a few yards, that signals a potential sensor issue or low system voltage. You might not feel any difference in normal braking, but the anti-lock function may be disabled. That becomes critical in sudden stops on wet or uneven pavement. Confirming proper light behavior costs nothing. Replacing a faulty sensor may cost under $200, while a crash caused by loss of ABS can mean thousands in damage or worse. Cold temperatures can briefly delay the self-check, so do not assume failure too quickly. Understanding brake system signals builds real confidence, and airflow management plays a surprisingly important role in how smoothly your engine responds under changing conditions. Number 6. Air intake, rain cover and removal. A louder intake and unrestricted airflow might sound appealing, but the rain cover on your Harley's air cleaner serves a purpose. That small outer layer is designed to limit direct water intrusion during heavy rain while still allowing adequate airflow. Many riders remove it permanently for appearance or sound, assuming it restricts performance. Water entering the intake does not usually cause dramatic hydrolock on a modern touring bike, but it can disrupt air-fuel balance and trigger hesitation. Moisture reaching the filter element reduces filtration efficiency and can lead to inconsistent combustion. You might notice a stumble in steady rain or slightly rough throttle response during wet rides. Those symptoms are not random. They point to airflow disturbance. Keeping the rain sock installed costs nothing. Replacing a soaked filter or addressing repeated fueling irregularities can add up quickly, especially if tuning adjustments are required. Number 5. Knock retard data. Detonation rarely sounds dramatic at first. A faint metallic tick under load can be easy to dismiss, especially on a big V-twin. Hidden within the engine control module is knock retard data that shows how often the system is pulling timing to protect the engine. Accessing that information requires a diagnostic scan tool or tuner interface, but it reveals what your ears might miss. Knock occurs when fuel ignites unevenly in the combustion chamber, creating sharp pressure spikes. Those spikes hammer the piston crown and rod bearings. The engine control module compensates by retarding timing, which reduces power but masks the severity of the event. You might feel slight hesitation on hard acceleration or notice reduced performance at higher loads. Those are protective reactions, not harmless quirks. Scanning knock counts costs little with the right tool, but ignoring persistent detonation can mean a $6,000 rebuild. Aftermarket tunes and poor fuel raise risk, and combustion stability depends more on consistent fuel grade than most riders realize. Number 4. Service reminder. Reset function. That small service light on your dash is more than a suggestion. Harley builds a resettable maintenance reminder into the display system, and many riders either ignore it or forget to reset it properly after performing service. Accessing the reset function through the settings menu using the handlebar controls takes only a few moments, yet it keeps your maintenance tracking accurate. The reminder is tied to mileage intervals programmed into the system. If it stays active long after fresh oil and inspection, it becomes background noise. Eventually, riders stop paying attention altogether. Skip tracking leads to extended oil use, delayed primary service, or overlooked inspections. You may not feel anything immediately, but cumulative wear does not announce itself loudly. Resetting the reminder costs nothing. Following proper intervals can mean a $150 oil service on time, instead of contributing to a $2,500 top-end repair later. The reset does not replace real mechanical inspection, so always verify fluid condition before clearing the alert. Maintenance discipline protects longevity, and electrical management plays an equally important role in keeping the system stable under load. Number 3 is accessory power management and load shedding behavior. Heated grips shutting off at a stoplight or audio cutting out at idle can feel like a glitch. In many cases, it is not a failure at all. Harley's electrical system includes automatic load shedding that temporarily disables non-essential accessories to protect battery voltage and charging stability. You can monitor system voltage through the display menu or confirm with a multimeter at the battery terminals to see this behavior in action. Low engine speed combined with high accessory demand increases electrical strain. The regulator prioritizes critical systems, such as ignition and fuel injection, reducing power to comfort features first. You might notice grips cycling off or lighting dimming slightly during extended idle. Those signals indicate protective management, not random malfunction. Understanding this feature costs nothing. Replacing a prematurely failed stator or regulator can run between $900 and $2,000. Aftermarket lighting and audio systems increase electrical load. Number 2. Limp mode protection strategy. Reduced power without warning can feel like something major just failed. On a Harley, limp mode is often a protective response triggered by the engine control module. Instead of allowing full throttle, the system limits RPM and power output to prevent further damage. Riders sometimes try to push through it, assuming the restriction is temporary or overly cautious. A serious sensor fault, overheating condition, or fueling imbalance can activate this strategy. The control module intentionally reduces performance to protect internal components from stress. You may notice sluggish throttle response, capped engine speed, or a persistent warning light. Those are not annoyances. They are safeguards, forcing the bike to continue under load risk, compounding the original issue. Stopping to scan diagnostic codes using a compatible tool costs little compared to ignoring the warning. Addressing a minor sensor problem early might be inexpensive, while riding aggressively in limp mode can escalate into a $5,000 engine repair. Some temporary glitches, such as brief voltage dips, may clear after a restart, so verify before assuming catastrophe. Number 1. Knock sensor adaptive timing protection window. The most important protection in your Harley is one you will never see on the dash. The knock sensor constantly listens for detonation and signals the engine control module to pull ignition timing within a specific adaptive window. That correction protects pistons and bearings from destructive pressure spikes. You cannot feel every timing adjustment, but the system is working every time combustion becomes unstable. Detonation creates sharp, uncontrolled pressure waves inside the cylinder. The control module responds by retarding timing, reducing peak pressure and temperature. That safeguard has limits. If low-octane fuel, extreme heat, or an aggressive tune-push combustion beyond the correction window, metal surfaces begin absorbing the punishment. You might notice faint metallic pinging under load or a subtle drop in power as timing is pulled repeatedly. Monitoring knock counts with a diagnostic scan tool costs little compared to ignoring chronic detonation. Proper fuel choice and tuning adjustments are inexpensive next to a $6,000 to $8,000 piston and cylinder rebuild. Mild timing pull during hot weather can be normal, so context matters. Beyond this protection window, there is no electronic rescue. At that point, durability depends entirely on the mechanical decisions you made earlier. 17 features. 17 chances to protect the machine you trust with every mile. Most riders never touch half of what their Harley can do, and that's where regret begins. Heat, load, voltage, oil chemistry, none of it is random. It's mechanical cause and effect. Use what the factory built into your bike, and you control the outcome. Ignore it, and the bill decides for you. If this changed how you see your ride, subscribe and stay sharp.